Hello everyone. I'm just gonna do this video on when a woman made me cry. Yes, I said that when a woman made me cry or I made myself cry. I don't know, but yes, I actually tears actually came down. I actually a little bit. I was disgusted with myself. It's not. Let's say one particular like it's not always direct. Like let me say like let's say like my mother's passed away. So if I see something that can kind of, she's been passed away for a long time. Uh, but let's say if I said something that kind of reminds me of her out of nowhere, or I'm trying to, how can I explain this? Um, it just kind of almost like triggers. Like I bought those expensive sunglasses from that vendor, from that lady that laughed at me when I um, told her my hip was fractured and I can barely walk, and she started laughing. Um, she didn't make me cry. Okay, I was upset, but not in that situation. But what happened with that lady is I bought some Oakley sunglasses from her, and then she said, "Well, if you buy them, I'll give you, I think, 10 or 15% off." And I was gonna buy them anyway because I did like them. And and then when I saw the discount, Mother's Day was already like a few days past, so I try not to go out for Mother's Day. But then when I looked at the receipt, it said like 10 or 15% off Mother's Day discount. I'm just saying something like that was kind of indirect. Like it's not, uh, you know, even though I didn't like that lady anymore for what she did, but it wasn't like she purposely said Tony doesn't have a mother, so just let me give him a 10% or 15% discount, and um, to get back at him. Okay, so but in this situation, so it was over a year ago, and I met this lady. She knew I didn't have a vehicle at that time. I have one now, thank God, Jesus Christ. Um, but anyways, she she seemed okay with it, because she met me as I was like walking to the bus stop, where she met me kind of where she knew I didn't own a vehicle. It wasn't like she met me at a store or at a gym or anywhere else, and then I have to tell her, like, oh no, I don't have a vehicle, or something like that. Um, so she said she said something to me. She asked me, so why don't you drive? A lot of people, most people that take the bus don't know how to drive. Do you know how to drive? So I was just like, Jesus Christ. Um, so I showed her my driver license. I took a picture of it and I sent it to her, and then it had all my information on it and all that bullshit, right? Um, and okay, so what happened is she had a high like what are they called? It's hard for me to even spit this out because some of this stuff sucked. What I was going through, high interest, right? She goes, I want to know where you live. You better tell me. I'm gonna find out regardless. She just said like very nice, complimenting things to me. Um, and then she called me up and she said, Tony, I don't, I'll pick you up. I don't. It doesn't matter if you don't have a vehicle. If we're gonna date, I'll go ahead and pick you up. So I'm like, Jesus Christ. Um, and I don't think that would have happened for very long. I got so much pride and self respect. Um, After a couple dates, I would have one, maybe even one. I would have just bought a vehicle, even if I would have overpaid. So whatever, out of nowhere, like she got distant, like she pulled back. I don't know what was going on, and I guess I don't know. Apparently, it's my fault that I end up just blocking her. I was like, it was just this back and forth, pulling back. You know, I even assumed that she's probably married, just because of the mixed signals I was starting to get. So I just blocked her, and it sucked, right? Um, and then now that I think about it, and other people kind of have told me that she was either married, living with a man, or she had a man. Um, so anyway, she ended up running into me, and then she ended up letting me have it verbally. And I didn't have a vehicle then when she let me out have it verbally, so I feel more humiliated. No, she didn't give up the booty either by letting me out, letting me have it verbally. So none of that. She pretty much humiliated me. Um, but this is the part. So after I blocked her, I wasn't gonna unblock her. I guess she did reach out to me. She tried to, but obviously her texts didn't go through, and that's what created her. For her to think that I was a horrible person, even though she was the one playing games. So what happened is, I just didn't want to take the bus. After we stopped talking, I didn't want her to see me waiting at the bus stops or something as she drove by. I didn't, and a couple of times that did happen, like months later or whatever, weeks later. I don't really remember. But I know she would drive by me in the 100 and some degree temperatures, and I would just like be disgusted with myself. Okay, so when I actually cried, so let's say it's been like 2 or 3 days, I blocked her, we stopped talking. I'm not gonna unblock her, so it kind of sucks because I really like this lady. Um, so I thought it was gonna be that she really liked me or something, you know. So anyways, I said no, I'm not gonna take the bus. Uh, I'll just ride the bicycle. So I rode the bicycle to the gym. In the gym, Jesus Christ. So I leave the gym, and I get on the bicycle, and I have a flat tire. Okay, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. Now I gotta get on the bus and take the bicycle back to my apartment complex, and then or to a bike shop or what. It's just a flat tire, but it was like, I forget why it was where I live at in the desert. They got these thorns. Vegas has them, Arizona has them, and then like the west part of Texas has them. But there's these certain like thorns that, but I mean, you get thorn-proof tires, thorn-proof tubes, but they still manage to get in there, right? And I had a Specialized Series bicycle. I had a decent bicycle, um, but it's still embarrassing to be a 40-something-year-old on a fucking bicycle that's used as his I say it's for exercising. That's part of it because you got to be in decent shape, especially when you're riding a hybrid. Um, but no, that was my transportation. So, and Chris Rock made a stand up one time. He's saying if you're in an area where men are riding bicycles as their transportation, you're in a bad area, right? So, um, so anyways, so the tire got flat. I had to get on the bus, uh, and then get off the bus and then go like another like walk my bike for 15 minutes in the heat and go home. So I got home and I didn't realize that the reason why I didn't change it out, this is the reason why I didn't change it out when it was flat. It was one of those, I don't like those inner tubes, but when they leak, they have a sealant in them. And, sometimes it'll be a green goo. Sometimes it'll be like a white, um, like not as much as the green slime goo, but the white is more like, I'm trying to, what would it look like? Or whatever. I'm trying to cottage cheese looking thing, but those are some of the inner tubes that I don't like them. What they do is if there's a hole in the inner tube, the green goo or white jizz or cottage cheese looking thing will start sealing it up. So it kind of where the tire kind of fixes itself, right? But a lot of the times they don't work. They're a waste of money, and they explode. So this is why I didn't want all the goo all over me, and then I needed to rinse off the tire. I needed a place where there was like a sink or something. So that's why I waited. So I get home, and I use my sink, and the white goo and shit is everywhere. It's all over the kitchen. I had it when I took the tire out, took off the inner tube. The inner tube exploded inside with all the white cottage cheese, and it's all over the. It was this apartment complex too, right? It was all over my floor and shit. Um, and then in the kitchen. Um, but anyways, I ended up just fixing it, right? It was no biggie. It kind of sucked, right? I go, Jesus Christ. And then it was almost like a rub and having to ride the bike to the gym. That gym is like all uphill too. Okay. And it's 100 something degrees. This is July. Okay. And then I had to get back on that bus. Okay. Buses are just disgusting. Okay. Especially if, in like states that have bad infrastructure or they don't put money into their transportation system and the people that ride the bus, whatever. Okay, and like I said, my bike was close to $1,000. Um, and obviously where I live at in Texas, it isn't a bike friendly. It's not like Seattle or Oregon or New York City. One thing I miss about New York City was like you don't need a vehicle. Like it does. It's not even a problem. Like it's not even an issue. It's not, and then just not having to rely on this big piece of junk metal that gets people killed, that gets people in legal trouble. Sometimes you get yourself in legal. It's a vehicle is basically too like it's almost like where any police officer, like I get cops behind me a good amount, but I don't, I'm not worried about them, right? The only thing I would worry is that they're pulling me over for no reason. That would be the only reason. Is there is no reason. Um, that's another thing too, is where like the police can pull you over. Like one time, like in Huntington Beach, when I was in the military, a police, uh, the light was it was gonna be red. It was yellow, so I slowed down, but I didn't know that my brakes were defected. So when I didn't hit the brakes, but I did come to a pretty good stop. Like it was yellow, so I stopped. I hit the brakes to stop at the yellow light, so it made this screeching sound, this loud screeching sound. So there was two cop cars, and they got right on me, and they pulled me over, and they harassed me for like 30 minutes. And then they couldn't get anything. They asked if I was drinking and driving. I said no. They asked me this. They asked me all these questions. They said I was wearing headphones and that I threw them in the back of the car. So they were going to give me a search warrant. They said, "Do we need to get a search warrant that you do those headphones in the?" And I go, "I wasn't wearing no headphones." I had the sunglasses on top of my head. I didn't throw my headphones in the back of the. Do we need to search your? And then finally they gave me a ticket for the windows were too dark, the tint. I mean, I think it was longer. I think it was like more like an hour. I was, so that's kind of a thing too. But at the same time, you could be walking but like, and the police can like say come here. But those are kind of like during the day you're gonna be fine. Maybe like if you're walking the streets at like 2 in the morning, obviously. But no, you're definitely not gonna get stopped by the cops when you're when you're just walking for the most part, unless you're bothering somebody. But so anyway, so that happened with the first, and yeah, I'm feeling it like humiliated, like the bike got flat. I left the gym. I had to rack the bike on the bus. Okay, so I did all that. Now the next day I go back to the gym. Same thing. I leave the gym. There's a flat tire. But this time I don't have a spare because it was within 24 hours, right? So my spare got flat. Okay, and I don't know anybody to pick me up or anything like that. So I got to go across the street again, and and get back on the bus and then go home. And then I'm gonna have to now. I'm gonna have to. It's 100 something degrees, like 107 degrees that day, and then like the next day I'm gonna have to take it to the. Whatever happened, I was just like, I went home, okay, and I started crying. I just started crying. I just said, "Holy shit, man!" Like I met this nice looking lady. She seemed so interested. It seemed like she said, "I don't care that you don't own a vehicle." Then all of a sudden, like it was her communication was just off, and it was just like hot and cold. And I'm like, "Is she married? Is something going on? Am I gonna buy a vehicle for a chick that might even be married? At any moment could just say I'm not, I'm uninterested." I go, I can't believe this. I go, I make decent income. I just can't get off my, like, not get off. I just can't, like, every time I was looking for a vehicle, there was always something. Like with the inflation, or it seemed like the person was sketchy, or I didn't want to get in another debt with a vehicle, like a long term debt that other people have been doing. But yeah, I freaking I started crying, and I think too is like because I showed her my driver license, and I was really trying, okay, and I was other than like some casual hookups here and there, I was single for such a long time. I mean, because then you had the 2020 thing that hit, and then like I went from like traveling in my vehicle to in that SUV that I used to have to then having like no vehicle, and then so yeah, this is just a long rant. I mean, but yeah, I she made me cry. I just felt humiliated to be a 40 something year old with no like, vehicle, and you know, now that I have a vehicle, a reliable vehicle, that I bought cash, you know, it feels nice knowing that I don't have to deal with that. I don't gotta send women my driver license and or whatever to show that I know how to I can drive, or I'm not like I didn't commit no crimes or not pay child support, or I lost my driver license or something. Um, but it was the ultimate humiliation, and then but you know I still kind of, and I shouldn't think like this. So like when I bought the vehicle, uh, I had the property owner sold it to me, okay, and when he said you want to test drive it, I said no. The way these people drive in Texas, I go, someone might hit us while I'm test driving it. I go, let's just drive to the bank, and then if I like it, we'll go to the bank and I'll give you the cash right there. So, I mean, I own a vehicle, and right now it's reliable. Okay, it's one of the most reliable vehicles ranked, right? Um, I took my car to an oil change like right when I bought it, and the RPMs were they go kind of high, like when you start the car, they kind of shoot up kind of high and they stay there, and then they go back down. And I asked the auto place, the like it's kind of like a Jiffy Lube, but it's not. And then I go, hey, I know is my car need something, because I noticed the RPMs go high and they kind of stay there when the car's warming up. They're like, no, your car's, you know, it has over 122,000 miles. Um, nah, just warm it up a little bit longer. They didn't try to sell me anything. They're like, hey, these things are good cars, man. They go 300,000 miles easily. And then I took the car to get my windows tinted, which actually did improve the look, like a good amount. And then the guy was like, dude, he goes, man, these are good cars. He goes, these cars go over 250, 300,000 miles easily. So I hope no one hits me. I hope no one I hope they don't like someone doesn't total my car, or I don't hit no one, and then like the insurance only gives me like $3,000 or something for it, even though it's been so reliable right now. Like the only thing I've done to it like is the oil change, and then it passed the emissions test like 2 weeks ago, so with flying colors. So, um, but no, um, I freaking and I think about too, like the money that I spent, the money that I wasted. I start looking at like my comic books, right? I stopped collecting comic books because of that particular incident. She's gonna see me with no vehicle, and that's what I was looking at. She's gonna see me with no vehicle, and then I'm gonna go in my apartment complex, and there's gonna be like a bunch of comic books. And the amount of money that I was spending on comic books too, like I know with inflation, I was kind of like fuck it, like without owning a vehicle because I bought my SUV brand new off the lot, and for 8 years I had almost a $700 car payment. Okay, and then the it was a Nissan Murano, and they're not reliable cars. They're not your typical Asian cars like the Toyota or the Honda Civic, right? Um, they're not. They break down a lot more. They have the CVT transmissions, a piece of shit, and that's what eventually went out with the radiator and all that. So for $700, almost a month, for 8 years, I pretty much paid inflation when there was no inflation, um, because I was upside down. So all this stuff, it kind of, it's just bad decisions. Uh, so buying that expensive SUV and trading in a car that was running, but that wasn't paid off either. Um, so yeah, that's I just lost my train of thought. So I started looking at like where did I buy too many colognes? When I was traveling in and out of Airbnbs for a while too, I didn't even want to get tied to a lease. So I was doing like long term Airbnb, spending more money that way. Like you try to look at like I didn't ask anybody for anything. I didn't ask anybody for any money. I didn't ask. I don't really have family. I don't have friends. Like I wish I did have friends, but I don't have friends to even like just to say like hey can you just pick me up? It's 106 degrees outside. My tires flat. I feel humiliated right now. Um, no. Um, but no, I mean, so yeah, she definitely made me cry because I text her my driver license just to make it like comfortable with her and just to show that I have a driver license just because I don't own a vehicle and I just feel humiliated, right? Um, yeah, but it was part of it was her, and then part of it was just I was just disgusted with myself, and it just it just turned out that way. But yeah, hopefully though but that was some a little bit ago when that happened. All right, talk to you later. But no, I got the vehicle. I'm okay. I got money in my pocket. I still have my same place, my same apartment, my same. I pay. My apartment went up. It was 1,200, and then it went to 1,225. Um, after like the when I signed the second lease, like after, I think 9 months later, it went up $25. So I pay 12.25 a month. So yeah. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.